Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, I will be telling you about the final class, method and variable. Like how we can declare final class, variable and method, and what is the exact use of declaring final class, final method and final variable. We have already discussed in the previous video that whenever we declare a variable final, it becomes a constant. Okay, so in the last video, I told you in the last video that whenever we declare this as a variable final, it become a constant, which means we cannot change its value. For the instance being, we can say that if I declare int a is equals to 10, and if I want to do a is equals to a into a, which is I'm taking the square of a and I display it, so we know the output will be 100. Pretty obvious. I was able to change the value of a. But if I declare my variable final, if I put this keyword final before my variable declaration, then this won't be executed. It means I cannot change the value of a. Now a has become a constant value. It is a constant value and it cannot be changed. Okay. So let's have a practical example directly here only itself. Let's take it here. I will write here int a is equals to 10. Okay. So now here a is equals to 10, and if I want to modify a is equals to a into a. Okay, so and we will run it, and let me display also system.out.println a. Simple. Okay, so if I will be able to modify a, so a is 10 and now a is 100, you can see. Okay, but if I declare this as final, now final is like a bodyguard. He will say you cannot touch the variable a because I am there, and you are not allowed to touch the variable. Once the value of a has been defined, you cannot touch or change the value of a. Okay, so now you will run, it will give an error that the variable has been defined as final and you cannot touch it. And you can see here is a error. You can see it, the final local variable cannot be assigned. Okay, you are changing its value, it cannot be done because why? Here is a bodyguard name as final that doesn't allow it. So this was pretty easy about the final keyword when using with the variables. Now let's have it with the method. What happens if I call a method as final? Okay, so now let's look and dig up in the method. So let's take, I have a method as void sum. Okay, so void sum in class father. Okay, so here it works in inheritance that final method prevents overriding. Okay, if I write here final, so final methods prevents overriding. This overriding is being prevented by final method. Okay, by the word final. How? I will just tell you. Like we have here is as the father is the class, is the parent class, and here I have the son, and in the son I made son to extend the properties of father. As simple as that. Okay, now if I take void here also, void sum, so we know by default this son value, son's sum will be printed. I have taught you in the previous video that if method overriding will take place and son sum will be printed. But in order to avoid this overriding, if I declare this as final, okay, so before this if I write final here, then the son cannot create the sum name of this type of a function. Son cannot create. Why? Because I have declared final void sum. So it means that the father has said, hey son, you cannot create a same function name like mine, you cannot copy me, you have to be your own innovative. Okay, so here it will restrict son to create the same type of the function name, so it is preventing function overriding. So final method, whenever we use final method, it helps us to avoid or prevent what? Function overriding. I will write this again, function overriding. It prevents. And let's see a glimpse over it. And here I will just remove this and I will create, you can see here there is a father class and the father has the same function name work as that of the son. Okay, and the son is extending the class father. And if I declare here final, I use this keyword final, and if I put this bodyguard here and now you compile it, it will say a error that No, you can't do it. And you can see you have a error here. What is the error? You can see the error final method. Okay, overrides son overrides final method of father, and this is not allowed. You cannot, because of this bodyguard that is final being present here. So this is preventing function overriding. Okay, so now what is exactly we can say final class? Now why do we need this final class? When we declare a class as final, what happens? It prevents inheritance. It does not allow inheritance. It prevents, or you can say does not allow inheritance. Okay, like in the previous example, I will just quote that example again. Class father, and this was your class father, and here is your class child. Okay, now if you write final keyword before this class father, and if the child wants to inherit the father, it will give an error. Why? Because of this bodyguard being present here. Again, this bodyguard is preventing child, hey, you cannot take the properties of your father. It's not allowed when I am there. Okay, so this is a simple example of final class. What happens when we declare final class? So let me give you an example of this. In the same code, this is your class father and this is your class child, or you can say son, which is the child or the base class. And you, when you declare final, this class as final, your parent class as final, now you will see a error, and the error goes like, yes, let's read the error. It's dot shape ai dot son main. Okay, so what it is, there is a error here, you can see it. And let's read the error here. I think here we will be able to read. Yes, the type son cannot be the subclass of the final class father. Okay, so it is saying that this son class cannot be the subclass or the child class of what? Final class father. Why? Because this class has been declared as final. In order to make it the child class of father, I will remove this, and now it's possible. I don't think any error would appear, and yes, it's perfectly working. But as soon as I put this bodyguard here, this bodyguard is very dangerous. He won't allow it, and you can see the error is out there, and it is saying the final class cannot be the son type cannot be the subclass of the final class father. As simple as that. So I hope now you are able to grasp over why final we use for the as the class, why we use final for the method, and why we use final for the variables. I hope you like this video. Stay tuned.